Hey, what is going on, guys? Fursty here, back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering another class of video on the channel. Now, before I even get in this video, you guys have been killing it in the ratings with these videos. You guys seem to really enjoy these class of videos from what I'm gathering from the like ratings and the views on the videos. Almost all of them have already broken over 200 views, which is just absolutely insane. No other series on my channel has done this good, so thank you guys so much for showing your support on this series. Now, by chance you missed the last 3 class of videos I made on my channel where I covered the ERAD, the K-Bar 32 assault rifle, and the OSA, I will have all 3 of those down in the description below so you guys can go check those out. Without any further ado, let's just get straight into this class setup video. Now, the reason that I chose to cover the NV4 in this video is simply because it is the first assault rifle that you guys probably used in the game. It's the default assault rifle, so a lot of you guys probably use this as your first gun, and a lot of you guys probably also stuck with this weapon because it is extremely powerful, it can shoot extremely far, and it has the lowest recoil out of all the assault rifles. Now, similar to all of my other class setup videos, I'm going to be breaking this class into sections. Now, what I mean by sections is I'm going to be breaking it down into the attachments, the perks. I'm going to tell you guys why I use the attachments that I use and if you guys should use them or not based off of your playstyle. I'm pretty much just going to make sure that by the end of this video you definitely have a class that you can use and do well with in public match. So starting it off with attachments, the first attachment that I use is an optic. I like using an optic on all of my assault rifles. You can't really see through your sight well if you're using just a straight iron sight when looking long range, which is why I always like to throw on an optic. Now, my favorite optic to use is Elo sight because it gives you the most free space in the sight. When you aim in, you have a floating reticle in the middle, so you can move around. You have a lot of range of mobility in your sight to look around. You're not locked inside a little box like if you're using a reflex sight or a red dot sight. So it really gives you that nice maneuverability and that mobility in the sight so you guys can see everything fine without ever losing your enemy within the scope. Now, for attachments, I like to use foregrip. I say this in every class of the video. I use foregrip on like every gun in this game, especially assault rifles, especially submachine guns. Foregrip is definitely a key attachment to use. It pretty much makes it so when you're aiming down sights and shooting at any distance, you have a lot less recoil than if you weren't using it. And if you guys aren't very familiar with how recoil works in this game, when you're shooting someone and they shoot back, or when you're just shooting someone in general, spraying your bullets, your gun will start to kick up and it will make you a lot more inaccurate on who you were trying to shoot. So if you use foregrip on this gun, it pretty much stabilizes that recoil so you can shoot more straight. And with a gun like this, if you're using foregrip with just how straight this gun already shoots, it's going to shoot extremely straight and you will not have any problems with killing any enemies at any range. Now, for the second attachment, I like to use quick draw. I use this on every assault rifle in the game. Quick draw is an extremely key attachment. I also use this on every submachine gun. Pretty much any gun that shoots with an automatic rate of fire, I use quick draw, because with quick draw you can bring your scope up faster, you can bring your gun up faster, and if you can bring your gun up faster than the enemy, that means that you're going to get the first shot on the enemy, and that means that you are usually 9 out of 10 times going to win that gunfight. So if you want to win a lot more gunfights in public match, you want to start doing good, you want to start going super positive, then you should use quick draw on your gun. That's just kind of a must when you are trying to do a lot better than the average player. Now, for the third attachment that I'm going to be using on this gun, I like to run stock. I use stock just so I have that extra mobility when aiming down sights with this weapon. If you use stock and Elo sight, you can pretty much move left and right while aiming in your sight, and you can lock onto enemies. A lot of people in this game like to fly around. They like to use propulsion and just fly left and right up as high as they can go. And for some people that gets very aggravating and annoying because they're using like a red dot sight or some crazy iron sight and they can't ever keep up with the player. If you're using stock and Elo sight, it's a lot easier to follow the enemies around when they are trying to strafe through the gunfight to get an advantage on you. Now, those are all the attachments that I'm going to be using on this gun. Moving into perks, for perk 1, I like to rock 2 perks. I usually like to use 2 perks in perk 1 on pretty much any class that I'm using in public match. Now, for the 2 perks that I'm using in this video, I got Ghost and Dexterity on deck. Now, pretty much, if you guys are new to this game, people like to use UAVs in public match. People like to use advanced UAVs in public match. People like to use any sort of UAV or radar that they can to their advantage. So if you're using Ghost, you pretty much are a ghost to all of that. They don't see you on the radar. A lot of you guys probably already knew this, but just didn't think of how crazy of an advantage that actually is. If you are not on the radar, nobody knows where you are. You can get behind your enemies, you can get around them, you can go through them, you can push straight up in their face and they won't know you're coming because they have a UAV up and they think they know where everyone is, but you're just that ghost on the map that they don't see, which is why I always use Ghost and would definitely recommend you guys use it as well. You can always get around the enemies without them knowing you are there, and the element of surprise in COD is just as good as using using quick draw or something, because if you're behind them, then they have really no time to kill you. You can get kills from the back, kills from the side, easy kills from the spawn, and it's just really key to have that perk. For the second perk, in perk 1, I like to use dexterity. Now I use this perk because you can reload and switch weapons faster. Now primarily because you can reload faster, it's kind of like sleight of hand in previous Call of Duties. If you play like me, which is very fast and aggressive, and you are always getting in the enemy's face, it really sucks when you see like 4 people in front of you, you kill 2 or 3, and then you have to reload to kill the 4th, and your reload is just too slow and they end up taking you out when you could have killed them easily. So I would definitely recommend using dexterity, because it really takes a toll on how many times that actually happens. If you're using dexterity, you reload a lot faster, and you can bring your gun up a lot faster after reloading as well. Now I don't ever usually like to run anything in perk 2, because I find that in this game there aren't too many good perks in perk 2, but obviously if you guys are going to be playing for like high kill streaks, then you can maybe use scavenger. If you guys aren't very good or just don't prefer to play very aggressive, but you still want to get high score streaks, but you're going to be playing a lot slower, it might be beneficial to you to use hardline, so you get more points towards your score streaks while you're staying in your general location, so that you can get those score streaks faster with less amount of kills. Pretty much those are the only 2 perks in perk 2 besides tack resist, but I don't really find that too many people use stuns in pubs. But those are really the only 2 perks that you are going to be needing to use in perk 2 ever. But for the way I like to play the game, I don't even find myself needing those 2 perks. Now moving into perk 3, there are only 2 things that I ever use in perk 3 as well, and that is dead silence and hardwired. Now I typically run dead silence because I don't like to be heard around the map. I like to get behind the enemies, and if I'm not using dead silence and they actually have a headset, then they'll hear me coming and pre-aim me or pre-fire me or just pretty much blow my cover, and all their teammates will turn around and shoot me, and there's really no way I can get out of that situation unless I'm using dead silence and they don't hear me coming in the first place. Now when I switch it up and use hardwired is usually when the enemy calls in a counter UAV. A lot of the times I'll have 2 classes that are the same exact thing, but the only difference is that one has dead silence and one has hardwired, and when the enemies throw up a counter UAV, I'll just switch to the hardwired class, because with hardwired, all of counter UAVs and EMP effects like that don't affect you. So if they have a counter UAV up and you're using hardwired, you will still be able to see the minimap. So pretty much I just use hardwire whenever there are kids going for like DATs or something and they're constantly throwing up counter UAVs thinking it's going to help them out. I'll just throw on hardwired so I can still see the minimap and kill those people before they actually get their streaks. So that's going to be the entire class. When I got to the perk section, that's where I kind of switched it up and gave you guys some different perks you could run for your playstyle. Now for attachments that you could switch up to fit your playstyle, if you play a lot slower and you like to kill people from a distance, instead of using stock, it'd probably be more beneficial for you to use rifle barrel, which is pretty much just long barrel from like BO3 or Black Ops 2 or any games like that. If you guys like to pretty much melt enemies and you're really good at aiming for their head, you could probably use hollow point. It increases the damage to headshots, so it's pretty much like high caliber from Black Ops 3 if you guys remember that. And then of course you got like FMJ, you can shoot through walls, suppressor, you can set off the mini map, pretty much anything like that you could definitely get away with using. I mean, it's pretty much just personal preference. Like, I personally don't think that I need suppressor because I'm already using ghost, and by the time I get to the enemies that I see, I'll usually kill them all before they turn around and figure out that I'm there. So like, if you want to use suppressor to get even more stealthy with your class, you go ahead and do that. That's just not something that I need to do for myself, and I don't really recommend doing unless that's something that you've been doing for so long that it's just a habit that you can't break. I mean, it's really whatever you want to do. It's your class, but that's going to be it for the video, guys. If you guys did enjoy or learn something, please drop a like, as I'd really appreciate that. Comment down below what you guys thought of this class setup and this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to me on my channel if you guys are new. I'm on the road to 200 subscribers. Until next time, guys, I am out. Peace.